we spend approximately 90% of our time indoors, especially in those climate zones away from the equator. And moving into a new home isn't necessarily a healthy home. Sometimes if a home passes building code, looks clean, uses modern materials, then we assume it's also good for human health. But a home, is important to understand. It's not an inert environment. It's a living biological environment that shapes our respiratory, cognitive, thermal qualities of the people living inside of it. And a code built home, can trap a lot of moisture if it's not built right. It can accumulate ridiculous amounts of carbon dioxide or toxins in the home. It can fluctuate very widely in temperature. And toxins in the indoor air is really natural in most code built homes. So it's very important that people understand the true biological nature of a home and what it should be. A home can really be an optimal healthy environment, or it can be an optimal unhealthy environment. There's a lot of symptoms that people might feel are just normal, maybe just attached to their own physiological being, meaning morning congestion, sinus irritation, brain fog, just general sluggishness, dryness in the wintertime, humidity discomfort in the summertime, sleep disruption, and respiratory irritation is a big one too, that really stems from drafts and cold surfaces. So important for people to understand that a building code house or a standard home is not a type of home that's protecting your health. And really a big reason why our company has chosen to focus on really trying to educate and make people aware of all these health implications that could be connected to the house, not necessarily someone's physiology.
Beyond the human health concept, you're also thinking more broadly to planetary health. So you're focused on net zero buildings or passive homes, where you're looking at, yes, this energy efficient and more environmental side, but also buildings that are more affordable, more resilient, which really challenges, unfortunately, the average home. So what does that look like from a business model perspective? How are you able to kind of create a business that is able to thrive in that when it really goes against the grain right now?
A business that is able to ultimately thrive in a high performance perspective is really one that for every company is going to have their own reasons. I know for us, focusing on affordability is a really big part. When you build any kind of high performance home, low energy home, or healthy home, and ironically, the more energy efficient a house is made, also the more healthy home it becomes. We used to focus predominantly on energy efficiency, but when we shifted our main communication, and this is really connected with our values as a company, meaning a home that is is resulting in an optimally healthy environment, it naturally also allows us to create the most energy efficient home. But we really, in terms of affordability, it comes down to two main components. And one is a minimalistic approach to design. So a type of house that really minimizes the amount of material and labor that go into the home. Now, it's also important that a healthy home is built stronger, built to withstand these changing weather patterns. A house that is able to be stronger under any weather condition is a big part. So compromising the strength of a home is not part of it. We want to make the home stronger, but you can do that with advanced construction techniques. A minimalistic approach to design is really a house that results in minimum labor, minimum materials. And when you have a house that is minimized in terms of those two components, you naturally will have the most affordable home as well, because the cost of the house is the house in general is a combination of a lot of different systems And when you minimize the cost associated with those systems, it's always going to come down to labor and materials. So that's really the biggest one. And the second one, though, for us, strategic partnerships, a system that really puts in place partnerships with material providers, logistics coordination, so transportation of the materials. We do supply our company a passive house package that's shipped right across North America. So really solving the logistic component is a big part. And when you simplify, I think, building models in general, and when you increase volume, a lot of complexities also reduce. And partnering with companies that are able to ship across North America, partner with companies that are able to supply better costs for materials with increased volume is a big part of our business model. We need to make sure we have a certain amount of volume to offer the best cost, and offering the best cost comes with a lot of strategic partnerships. Also, engineering. Houses have different engineering demands uh, depending on where the home is built in the United States or in Canada, which are our two main markets. We're talking about climate zones that might have impacts for seismic reasons or high wind conditions, meaning hurricane or tornado zones. So really focusing on those two parts, a minimalistic approach to design and strategic partnerships has enabled us to ultimately provide the most high performance healthy home and reduce a lot of costs that would otherwise be connected with a more expensive building.
How do you typically communicate the ROI of investing in the type of house that you do have with EkoBuilt? Is it showcasing how it pays for itself over a number of couple of years, or what does that ROI modeling look like for your client base?
The cost of a high performance home should not affect anyone's cost of living. Now, when we think of, I guess, why in general are you going to want to build a more high performance home? And most people think of the energy usage of the home, the energy efficiency of the home. And like I said before, the healthier you make a home, the more energy efficient it is. And this is really one of the biggest misunderstood concepts in the building world. And in a house that is built to a more high performance standard, as long as the cost is limited to the point where the savings in energy are the equivalent or equal that incremental cost to build per se, you're going to have a house that doesn't really involve any increased expense or out of pocket expense from a cost of living perspective. So we found that if we can limit the cost of a high performance home to 10%, it is true that more expensive building materials, even with the best supply chains at the best cost in the world, it is a house that naturally costs more because in general, there are some more materials that are involved in the home. And when you look at the building envelope of the home and compare it to a code built home, but if you build that house to a certain performance standard where it reduces the operational cost of the home and it reduces the expenses, those out of pocket monthly expenses, whether it's a gas bill or a propane bill, if those savings can offset the incremental cost, then the cost of living doesn't change. And we feel that that is really where it has to stop and start. If we're providing a type of home that is going to be significantly more cost intensive, uh, most people aren't going to be able to afford it. And if no one can afford this house, then it's not going to be built. As simple as that. Or the only way it would be built is if the building codes change themselves. But as we've seen in the home building world and the building code world, codes are very slow to change. And codes do need to change in order to really protect people's investment in a home. It's much better to invest a little bit more in a house that's going to be better for your future investment, meaning one that removes any future possibility of going through a major intensive energy retrofit. Ultimately, doesn't matter how a house is operated, whether it's an electrically only operated home or a combination of electric and gas. Energy is increasing, operational costs increasing. An affordable home is not the house that you can build for the cheapest dollar value, because that same house is gonna also come with a massive operational cost, which is just going to increase into the future. So we really do take the perspective of increasing the building a more high performance home in a way where the savings in energy are going to offset that incremental cost is going to now be a house that anyone with a reasonable budget to build can afford to build.